Hello viewers, the Pharma Duos are back once again on this Sunday evening. This Sunday we are going to talk something very important to all the academicians actually, because the situation is COVID is still running, and once the vaccine is still not available, because it may take another 6 months to get a proper vaccination minimum. So during this period, I am thinking that all the education institutions will be running only with online classes. That will be the because we started online classes, and many even from LKG students, they are having online classes nowadays. But the mode and methodology and curriculum of online classes are quite different actually. But what we are going to talk is going to be from the purely from the academic side. That is not only for pharma division, any academician in any colleges who is watching this show, because many will be already familiar with online classes, but we are going to talk about some pros and cons of the platforms, not about the online classes, because online classes are mandatory nowadays, and we have a lot of challenges in online classes facing the online classes. So that is not both sides actually, from the faculty side as well as from the student side. There are a lot of challenges to be addressed, but we are not going to address the challenges in online classes. We are going to talk about the platforms which will reduce these challenges. That is the motive and idea of this particular talk show, because it's almost we are in the month of August, and many institutions now they started conducting online exams and promoting the students, and some as per the norms of various regulatory bodies and by UGC and MHRD or whatever they say, and they are trying to follow the norms, and they are either promoting the students based on different modes of examinations, and the students are getting promoted to the next class. Now once they get promoted, now it becomes a question that what type of class to be taken, how it has to be handled, and because for a particular semester for next 3 months, definitely it's going to be online mode. So, and any school or academic institution or a university college, they should fix a particular platform. They cannot keep changing the platform every now and then, so that it will be difficult for both the faculty as well as for the students. So what my suggestion is, we are going to talk about the two very common platforms which are used by most academic colleges throughout the country now, and we are going to talk about the pros and cons. And we also have a guest in the show, Dr. B.V. Nagarjuna has joined, and he'll be recently he was in Ethiopia for quite some period, and he's on vacation to India now. So he'll also be joining us, and he'll also be discussing with us regarding this online classes and blended learning, how it is done in the Ethiopian country. So we can also, because we have also not talked to him personally, we'll also be in the show only. We are going to hear him live about the Ethiopian concepts, or what does the other countries what they are following, because some of the Arabic countries, I heard that they are using a tool called Blackboard. That is, a Blackboard is a software which is used by most of the Saudi countries and UAE countries very commonly. It is pre-installed in all the institutions, so and they are using it quite thing. In our Wales University also, we conducted a webinar on from a Saudi person, professor working in Saudi. He was talking about the tool called Blackboard. So like that, in different countries, they have they are either they have their own tools or they have incorporated tools. So that is the order of the day. So to start, before giving the introductory remarks to Dr. Satish, I wish the viewers belated Vinayak Chaturthi, because it was a very good Vinayak Chaturthi yesterday. So everywhere we start with the blessings of Lord Vinayaka. That will be the initial blessings. So this academic year also we'll start with this, because so only we thought of talking about the online classes and the platforms. That was because we had previously we had a different plan of talking with Nagarjuna with the different how to go abroad, and faculty, especially for faculties to have a job fair in job culture in abroad. But we are since it falls in the next day to Vinayak Chaturthi, we thought of having it as a online class schedule, because that will be the motive of the show. So once again, wishing you a belated Vinayak Chaturthi wishes. Still, many people are celebrating it today, also being a Sunday. All they are celebrating the with Lord Ganesha, and I'm seeing a lot of pics in Facebook also. So it's now over to Dr. Satish. Then we'll have a introduction with Dr. Nagarjuna, and we'll proceed with the show.
Yeah, good evening, viewers. It's very interesting to meet you again on this social platform regarding this online classes. There are two aspects in online classes. From my point of view, one side is purely technical, the platforms what we use and how it is to be used, and what are the tips and tricks associated with the usage of this particular softwares and technical aspects. The other side of this is how we should deliver the contents through online classes, because the problem is when we take a class in the institution, it is within the four walls. Only your students are going to listen to it, and it is not seen by others. But when you take an online class, not only the students, but also the parents and other friends, relatives, brothers, sisters, all those at home, out of curiosity, they want to know how these online classes are conducted and how it is being conducted and how the teacher delivers. Everything is being a matter of discussion within a family itself. And there are a lot of comparisons made between different institutions depending upon how the teacher teaches in these online classes. So this talk show may have two different parts. One is based on the technical aspects and the platforms that can be used for conducting the online classes, and on the other side, how the teacher should effectively utilize these platforms and uphold the quality of education through online platforms. So this talk show is going to be very important for most of the academicians and educationists, because this will help you in one way or other way to improve your quality of teaching. And one more thing I want to specify on this is there are even some 6 months back, many of the teachers are saying that I'm not going to use the smartphone and I will not use the internet, and I don't want to be a tech savvy. But time is no more to say like that. The situation demands that everybody, if you are a computer literate or illiterate, if you are a tech savvy or not, it doesn't matter. Now we are under compulsion to use all those technical aspects and technical gadgets to successfully conduct this online classes. So with this introductory note, I hand over the platform to Dr. Shanmugasundaram.
Yeah, it's a good thing, Dr. Satish, you have given a clear intro what we are going to talk about. And now it's time to introduce the guest for the day, Mr. Nagarjun. Hello, Nagarjun. Good evening. How are you?
Hello, sir. Very good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, Satish,
Yeah.
sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's been a very long time we are seeing you.
Sir, first I want to apologize myself because internet is very poor over here, as well as I don't have enough charge.
Okay, Nagarjun. So it's not a big issue. You can give a self intro about yourself.
Hello.
And you can. Hello, Nagarjun. Are you able to hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can give your self intro about yourself for 2 minutes. And
very happy to share this.
You can keep speaking, Nagarjun. No issues.
I'm very happy to be joining in your platform right now, sir.
Yeah, great of joining with you also. Because after a long gap, we are meeting.
For giving this opportunity. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I don't know what to do in my life when I'm doing where my entrance university. I chosen my post-graduation specialization of pharmaceutics. Just everyone will do postgraduate. I like that. I did my postgraduate and I had a lot of fun with my completion of that course. Just I'm enjoying my life like that. Once okay, anywhere there will be a job of 10,000 or 20,000 like that. Okay, I'm getting ready for that. Maybe that is a God opportunity for me. and a good opportunity, good guide, and well-wisher, family, friends like that. I got few people in Wales University. Among them, Dr. Satish Kumar sir is one of the is. I have seen some stuff in you. If you are really interested, you can join a full-time PhD like that. I don't know what is PhD also during that time. Thinking about that, and I had a discussion with my family. That too full-time PhD. I don't know how long it will be, like 4 years or 3 years. Even I don't have any idea in research also. In masters, I did a Namke Vasti. To be frank, sir, Namke Vasti project. But exactly what is research and what is there, I don't know. Just I put, I'm thinking about my PhD and all. Then Dr. Satish Kumar sir guided me a lot, and just he put a word: don't get married until completion of your PhD. There will be a bright future for you. Just focus these 3 years. Forget about family. Just to clear the examination, you will get the stipend fellowship for surviving for these 3 years. Such a golden words. So once after listening that, for every person or for every student, there should be a well-wisher like that, or we want to take some. Uh, Guidance, which is called guidance. There should be a proper guidance to the person. Then only we will achieve something. So after listening such kind of words, blindly I said okay, and I joined, and I had a wonderful time with all the students and faculty over there for the 4 years from 2012 to 2016. Then I finished my PhD. I can't believe that my first job opportunity is a head of department. No one will give like that, sir. So I'm very happy for that, and I had a good life once after finishing the PhD. Everything is of because your blessings, sir. Thank you for giving such kind of opportunity. One more important person is there, Dr. Ravichandran sir. He is also one of the backbone for my travel, and I never forget Wales University in my life and all. Even now also, if I'm taking any step, I supposed to call both of you. You know that if I'm going to do anything, I will give a call to you, sir. I'm going to take this step. Please guide me. So then I will get a proper answer from you, and then I supposed to justify that. Then after finishing my PhD in 2016, I started working in Vishwabharati College of Pharmaceutical Sciences, which is in Guntur. I had a 1 year time over there. Once after finishing that one, I got a very good opportunity in Kale University, which is deemed to be university in Vijayawada. Then I was there up to 2019. Then I shifted to Ethiopia.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very good journey, Mr. Nagarjun. Actually, we are pleased to
Even
see you.
I
Actually,
can't believe
because
this thing happened to me in my life, sir. Even I can't believe. Without you people, nothing is there in my life. Simply, I supposed to work in any pharmaceutical company for 20K or 25K or 30K as a production department or something like a R&D department, which is like a routine life. Here, I supposed to meet lot of professionals, highly qualified people in pharmacy sectors. I'm very happy in this profession, sir.
okay, good Nagarjun. Actually, as such, sir, in the beginning, we'll have a talk on the online platforms and online classes. So, time being, I will keep you
Yes,
down
sir.
because we too will interact. And after that, we will, Satish sir will be inviting you to talk on the blended learning, how it is going in Ethiopia and like that. So, stay back in the show. So,
Sure,
if
sure,
you are okay,
sure,
we'll be in between. We'll be connecting you again and again. Okay, stay back till 1 hour
sure,
time.
sure.
So it's nice to see Dr. Nagarjun because he joined in Wales as a B Farm student when it was I think it was the second batch of Wales University. When Wales University second batch in the sense, well, previously it was Wales College of Pharmacy, then it has become a School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and he was the first or second batch student. Then he has continued his M.Pharm and he has continued his PhD. As he said, every time he used to ask both of us that whether he has to continue his higher studies, and both, especially Dr. Satish sir, used to give him a lot of guidance. and now he is in a very good position. Actually, he has gone abroad. For that also, he was asking us how to do everything, and Satish sir was guiding him. So it was a wonderful journey of one of our students to be. We are happy to see a student in a higher position, and now he's also on our show. That is also a very good thing. So going back to our topic on online platforms. So the topic of I say is, so online platform, two things are very common nowadays. The word Zoom, because the day once the lockdown started in March 22nd Sunday, I think it was announced by our honorable Prime Minister to save all of the citizens from the corona thing. So the lockdown started, and initially everyone thought the lockdown will be for 15 days or 10 days or 2 weeks matter, and everything is going to be quite normal, and they are going to back to the work. But what happened is, the lockdown was has to be extended because of the corona was very serious and in depth. It was a very problematic, and that March segment, every institution, maybe school or maybe schools were in the final examinations, whereas the colleges were in the segment of last episode of the semester. That is, they would have completed first and second terminal exams or sessional exams, and they were approaching towards the model exam and the final exam. So, and last unit of the thing was left over. So everyone started thinking about how to handle the classes and how to connect to the students. So that time, what happened is, everyone Zoom was the one of the platform which was coming to everyone's mind, because it was an easy platform to approach for all the people. So what they did is they installed the app. It is a user-friendly app. It can be installed both in mobile as well as it was installed in the laptops and desktops and all other parameters. So Zoom was one of the initial parameters to start for everybody in the online classes. So most of the institutions, they started their online classes after the first week of April. In Wales, we started in last week of March, whereas in other institutions, and quite few institutions, they started also in March, and other institutions, it was mandatory to start because to complete the final segment of the classes of the semester. So Zoom was a one concept which was very popular among the faculty as well as the students, because it's easy connectivity, easy installation, and it has a lot of features which was very tailor-made for the any teacher as well as for a student, because you can take a whiteboard and you can show it to the student, or you can share the screen with the student, and we can show videos, demos, online practicals. Anything can be done via Zoom. But the only time problem was the time restriction was 40 minutes. 40 minutes duration was for the free segment, because no one was quite now everyone would be thinking of buying a paid version of Zoom, because it's going to be very 3 or 4 months continuously we have to use some online platform. So many might have thought, but previously everyone was thought why to go for a paid version and to use a free version which is available. The free version was only for 40 minutes, and still now it is only for 40 minutes, and that was the only restriction it has. But we can conduct multiple sessions on the same ID itself. That is not a thing. Every ID will have a 40 minutes duration. Again, we can re-log in and we can do for another 40 minutes session. That was the thing, and every school and every college started using Zoom. But suddenly what happened in mid of April, there was some news popping up that Zoom was having some security issues and this and that. So everyone was thought of when it was quite going very good, suddenly there was a confusion whether to travel with Zoom or not to with Zoom, and many parents and many students also were afraid of using the platform, and the faculty are also, because they may thought that due to security reasons it may not be a popular time. At that time, another platform was quite started becoming popular was Google Meet, because it was a platform which was used by provided by the Google server. That is, normally we use Gmail. So everyone used to Google. Now, though there are a lot of browsers available, but the common browser which comes to everyone's mind is Google. So, and the app provider for this platform is Google Meet. Initially, the app was in another name previously, and before Meet, the app was in another name, and after that, the app, it was called as Google Angama. That was the app, it was there. So Google Angama has been converted to Google Meet, because Angama had some sharing and other features were not there. It's just like a Google Duos. Google Duos is nothing but an app which is used like a WhatsApp group calling or video calling. Google Duos is a video calling app. So sorry, not Angama, it is a Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts was the name was given for the Google Meet. And actually, the higher version of the Google Hangouts was the Google Meet, because Google Meet has very quite similar features and has also got more security advances compared to Zoom. And then many people started switching over to Google Meet, and they parallelly travel with the Zoom and the Google Meet. The Google Meet also has another advantage. It can get connected with the Google Classroom. That was one of the online classroom mode, which is not in India only. We started practicing because of the lockdown and by Corona, but Google Classroom was quite popular in all the other Western and foreign countries, because they used to have a regular thing for the giving assignments, modules, and other things. And many of the, if you go to any online courses, short time or duration of courses, they used to conduct it via Google Classroom. And so Google Classroom is one of the quite common parameter which is used. And they were using Google Hangouts initially. Then it has become a Google Meet, because in April only the Google has modified its Hangouts to Google Meet. And initially it started rolling only for the G Suite application, which will myself and Dr. Satish will explain what is later. So it was provided only for the G Suite application, and later in when it has become mandatory for everyone to take online class, it was Google has given it free for all the common Gmail users also. So, but there are differences between G Suite user and the common Gmail user. We'll be discussing about the features, so that the viewers can understand what it is. Many have started using it, but still those who are using also, there are some confusion on what to be done, what not to be done. So this show is based on these two platforms. What is the pros, what is the cons about Zoom as well as Google Meet, and comparison between Zoom and Google Meet for the online classes. There are a lot of other platforms like Jitsi Meet, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, and so many platforms are available nowadays. And TCS Ion is also one of the platforms. Many institutions are following their own platforms, and there are Moodle and the LMS learning management systems are also installed by many universities, their own platforms. But to be on the common side, many are using Zoom and Google Meet. So we thought of it initially to talk with Google and Zoom, Google Meet and Zoom. In other subsequent do your talks, not to be on the continuous episodes, on the alternate or different episodes, we'll be touching upon the pros and cons of other platforms also. To start with, we'll be talking about Zoom and Google Meet. That now it's over to Dr. Satish.
Yeah, I want to know something more about this Google Meet. Actually, you told that this Google Hangouts is converted into Google Meet. Actually, whether this Google Meet is also available in all Google accounts, or only those had purchased the G Suite it is available. I want to know it. The audience may also want to clarify that.
So to explain to the audience as well as to you, so Google Hangouts, that was a very smaller version of the video conferencing platform, which was available to a very limited number of people, and only maybe 4 to 8 people can be having an interaction, not more than that. But that cannot be used for online classroom teaching, because minimum strength of any classroom is going to be 40 or 50 students, and maximum strength is going to be 100 to 150 students based on different disciplines. Because if you take an MBBS classroom, it may be 150, and for a normal classroom, it will be for 40 or 50 students. So if any institution is and you're going to use this platform, they should address nearly 40 to 50 students minimum category, and maximum to 100 students. That was a limitation. But when it was Google Hangouts, that was it was not possible, because it was only for a limited. It's a video conferencing app. It is tailor made for some business communications and official communication, not for academic purpose. They used to have 10 to 15 people getting having online meetings, and that was the concept. After that, actually, during this Corona period only, Google has converted into a Meet. They call it as Meet, and they converted the Hangouts version to a Meet, and they started rolling it for 100 people at a time. So 100 people can be communicated at a time. That was the thing. And initially, as you said, they gave it only for the G Suite people. G Suite is a application which was given by Google to all the universities and colleges free only, but they should be a recognized academic institution, and the institution should be running a website. That was the criteria, because when you apply to G Suite, And you can any head of the institution, a principal or a registrar of a university, or any IT person from a university can be a G Suite administrator of the particular university. Only one administrator can be there, and only one account can be there. From that account, they can have a sub accounts or parallel accounts for the institution. So G Suite account is such a thing. It was given free by Google to all the academic institutions. Now also it is free only. Any institution can enroll it free. But as I said, it can be only a single account and a single administrator is allowed. Though there are multiple sub accounts can be created, only a single administrator will be controlling the total university or total college or whatever it is institution. So the academic institution can apply, an administrator can apply, and they will verify. They will verify the website of the institution. If the website is quite updated website and they are able to find out all the courses and other things, immediately they will sanction the G Suite for the particular institution. So this G Suite has two advantages. As I told you, it will accommodate 250 students or 250 people online can be accommodated, and we can conduct all day classes. That is 24 hours a day we can conduct the meetings. There is no time restriction or the number of people restriction. The number of people is 250 and the time restriction is not there. Throughout the day we can assign things. And there are another advantage of this G Suite Google Meet is, one thing is, if you're gonna if you want to accommodate more than 250 of your same institution, sometimes there may be some faculty meetings or something, because many institutions are bigger universities, they have a faculty meeting for 1,000 people or 500 people. Because that time if you want to address such a big crowd, not for the students crowd may not be more than 250, but if you want to address a faculty meeting of the institution or any thing, if you want to go beyond 250, the G Suite has this advantages. 250 members will be getting inside enrolled through their email IDs, that is the G Suite email IDs, and the remaining people they can watch it live. That will be operating only, the live stream can be seen only by the faculty who are having the official email ID of the institution. Whereas if they have a personal Gmail ID, they cannot view it. It will be clearly said that this is applicable only through your official email ID. So if 1,000 faculties are there, 250 can get inside the Google Meet, and some 50 can watch it live stream by the Google Meet. It can be having simultaneously, and both can be recorded. So that was a advantage of G Suite Google Meet. Whereas now that was initially up to May end, it was like that. Only for G Suite users are using it, and actually in what initially it was not interconnected with Google Classroom. Google Classroom, and we can schedule a Google Meet, but you can post a link of the Google Meet in the Google Classroom. That way it has to be created if you want to interconnect. Otherwise, you can directly connect a Google Meet online class, and any faculty who wanted to have a interconnection between Google Classroom and Google Meet, they have to assign a separate Google ID and Meet ID, and it has to be done. So Meet ID can be assigned from the Google Calendar. That was due to the security reasons, they have a certain thing. So Google Calendar wise, you can schedule the meeting, and the meeting ID can be created that can be shared in the Google Classroom. That was initially, it was like that. And in May, what happened is Google started rolling out Google Meet inside the Google Classroom. So each Google Classroom has a unique ID. Similarly, Google Meet also has a standardized ID. So what is the thing is, the faculty or the student need not create a separate ID for each class. So if the students are enrolled in one classroom, the Google ID is common. Every day, the timing is fixed from 9 to 4 or 9 to 12, and as per the university timings or the college timings, the student and faculty, they can enroll themselves through the official ID. Both. Only thing is, it is applicable only for the G Suite Google Classroom. The Google Meet is inbuilt nowadays. So what happens is, both the student also should be enrolled using a G Suite email ID, and faculty also should be enrolled using a G Suite email ID. So what happens is, they will have a common meeting platform until the session or until the classroom is over for 90 days or 100 days of the semester. So every day they can log in using the same Google Meet ID. That was the advantage. And when you ask about normal users, for example, who is not having a G Suite account, an institution not having a G Suite account, it's then also they can do all these things. Only thing is, it is limited to 100 people, not more than 100 people, and the timing is it will be for 1 hour sessions. So every session, every hour they have to create a new ID, and it is not inbuilt with the Google Classroom. As I said earlier, they have to create a email ID, Google Meet ID, and the ID has to be posted inside the students. And there is an option while creating the ID that, and the faculty should create an option that it is for public and it is for free. There are some options there in the calendar for setting the things. Then it will work very fine for up to 100 people. And the only restriction is 1 hour durations and other things are there. And one more lacuna we can find is we cannot record, because only in G Suite accounts nowadays recording for Google Meet is permitted, whereas for recording in a normal email ID is not permitted. So recording and future sharing of the same class videos is not possible using Google Meet for the personal users, personal Gmail IDs. Whereas if you have a G Suite account, it is also free only. If you have a G Suite account, then the official IDs can be created for student and the faculty, and they can enjoy all these facilities. And it will be like a normal everyday routine. Instead of going to the physical classroom, you are going to be inside the virtual classroom, enjoying all the facilities of the physical classroom. That's it. I hope you are clear with my.
Yeah, it's very clear, and very clearly you told that G Suite account, if it is there, it is free, and every educational institution can get it at free of cost, and they can get a Google Classroom, and Google Classroom linked with this Google Meet, and it's a virtual classroom. And if it is an non-G Suite users, for example, if the educational institution had not created a G Suite account, then also it's not a problem. This Google Meet is going to be free, and every teacher can just create a link separately for their classes, and they can schedule their classes, and up to 100 students they can participate in these classes. So if I'm not missing anything, I think I had a concise this. And one more thing recently I heard is that Maharashtra government had implemented this Google Classroom for all the government schools in Maharashtra. There is more than 1,500 schools around Maharashtra, in and around Maharashtra, even in villages, are going to be connected with this Google Classroom, and it's a very important charitable thing that the Google is doing in this pandemic situation for the government of India, particularly for education purpose. So another one question for you, sir. Actually, I heard that this Zoom is not safe. It's not a safe platform. Even the government of India had announced at a particular point that it does not advise that any official meetings should be held through the Zoom, which is associated with the government agencies. What sort of security breach is found in this Zoom, or what problem that an educational aspect you can expect in this Zoom?
Actually, there are different opinions about this. Till now, no one is very clear about it. From my point of view, because we started using Zoom, and myself was quite comfortable with Zoom, because it was easy sharing and it's more user friendly. So immediately we can assign the meetings and other things. And when I also came across all these type of messages, I started exploring how to use Zoom with some safety precautions. So what I came across is Zoom is provided to different servers. Actually, it is from UK servers, it is from US servers, it is from Chinese servers, and different servers actually. So what is the thing is, it is based on the country's policy. You can select the server if you want. If you think that you want from which country policy, or which server you want to do it, but that option is given only for the people who are having a paid version, not for the free version. If we take a free version, it will be coming. It is automatically coming from any one of the servers, either from US, UK, or China. Whereas if you are having a paid version of the same software, a Zoom platform, you can select the server which country from you want to log in. So that was the security which we can select. Or else, if you give it to the free version, means it can be only for 40 minutes duration, and we cannot select the server and all. But it is not going to continuously come from one server every day. Every meeting also the server is going to change. So that will be the limitation for us. If you want a very secured version, you have to go for the paid version. Then in the paid version, you have the option to select your servers. And in UK Parliament, they are using only Zoom. I heard a paper news that UK Parliament was using Zoom meetings because they use the UK servers. I'm not quite sure about it, but it was also a news which I gathered during that period. This is the news for the viewers. Zoom was, if you want if you feel that Zoom to be 100% secure, and any platform, you want to be a secure platform, instead of going for a free version, we have to go for the paid version. Paid version gives you a lot of security features, so that it will protect all your accounts, so that the paid version is giving more advantages.
Yes, that I heard also that the Zoom had is very keen on its security aspects, and it was releasing so many updates in the Zoom app frequently. Even in 15 days of gap, they were releasing their updates, and one among these is Google, that is Admit, or we can have an enabling auto admit, or you can log the meeting, like that. So many facilities it has created to enable more security to the meeting conducted through Zoom. Okay, sir. Then what about the presentation using Google Meet? That usually a general problem is there. It seems anybody can present in a Google Meet when you're taking a class, knowingly or unknowingly. If a student clicks the button present now, automatically his presentation will be coming in and disturbing the whole classroom, like that. Some sort of issues are there. What do you think about it, or can you throw light on it?
Actually, this is one of the problem to be addressed by the Google Meet, actually, because everyone is having, because actually the wording is join and present. Okay, what the student think is present means they have to give attendance. That is the thing, and instead of giving a join click, they are giving a present click. They are thinking that this is asking for attendance or something. So no one is doing actually voluntarily. They are doing it without knowing that the name of, because in Zoom it is clearly giving as share the screen. So everyone knows the meaning of sharing. Whereas in Google Meet, it is coming in the name of sharing the screen, is in the name of present. That is presenting a screen. So that is a short version of that. But if you are once the students are getting used to it, they know what it is. But before that, what they think is present means it is giving attendance to the class or something like that. Any faculty or any people also, public also think that it is giving the presence means it is giving a marking an attendance for a meeting or something like that. So that was a thing. But there is an option in Zoom, is that we can pin the speaker who is having the control of the meeting. They can pin the speaker. That means whatever has been pinned, whose screen has been pinned, that only will be visible to everybody. If you are presenting, giving a presenting option also, if someone else is also presenting, that will not be visible to the viewers. It will be only visible to the person who is hosting the meeting. So that is a thing. So to avoid this confusion, once the meeting is going to start, the speaker has to pin themselves or pin the person who is going to be the speaker, so that the other person who is not going to present, though they are clicking the present button, they can be in the not in the view of the viewers. They'll be with the view of the person who is hosting the meeting. I think for timing this can be a solution, but future I think Google Meet will come with a better option that will give more better controls to the people.
Actually, the host should have an extreme control over the meeting. That is what everybody will expect. Particularly, a teacher thinks that he should have a very good control over the students when they are online, particularly. So Google should may address this very shortly, that it will give a lot of controls to the host, so that they can be more comfortably using this Google Meet. So once again, coming back to the Zoom, you told that 40 minutes time is there, but when one of my faculty is regularly taking some seminars, and he told that he can schedule the meeting for 2 hours continuously. How it is possible, and is there any particular thing with the free version itself for continuously conducting 2 hours?
Actually, there are two things. One is that we have to create two simultaneous IDs. For example, you are starting a class by 9 o'clock, and your class is going to, the first 40 minutes will end up at 9:40. And you should create another ID which starts by 9:41, so that the students will re-log in, and you can be inside the same classroom and other things. That is one way, creating two IDs, and within a gap of 1 minute, everyone can re-log in and they can be continuing the class mode. But this has a continuity problem that the sharing the screen, presenting the screen, it will take another 5 minutes to do it. This is the simplest way without any confusion to do it. So the simplest way is that. And this, if you don't want this way also, what you have to do is, when it comes to 39th minute or 38th minute, it will be showing that your meeting is going to end in 1 or 2 minutes. That will be popping up on the screen to the person who will start hosting the meeting. That time immediately you can schedule the reschedule the meeting. So the meeting ID will not be changed, and it will be having only a flick to the audience. Audience will be thinking there was a flick in the screen, but they are reconnected to the next scheduled meeting. Like that, you can do it for 3 or 4 consecutive times, so that the recurring, it is called as recurring Zoom meetings. So that in a paid version, actually there is an option called as recurring Zoom meeting itself. You can time it for how many hours you want. The same ID can be done. And one more thing many people are thinking is that one Zoom ID, if you have created, means that ID can be used only for 1 day. That is not the case. The Zoom ID can also be used for different days on the same ID, but only thing, the duration will be keep on changing. And the recurrent, and while hosting it, you should make it as a recurrent option. If you do it as a recurrent option, every day 40 minutes it is possible. And similarly, when you are coming to 38 or 39 minutes, when it is popping up on the screen of the host that the meeting is going to end, if you reschedule a meeting, it will go on the same ID. That is how you can do it for 2 hours or 3 hours continuously. That was option. 2 options are available.
Okay, it's very interesting to know about the platforms, and let me say something about how these platforms can be successfully used. So already I told in my introductory note that knowing about the platform is one important aspect, and the next important aspect is how this platform is effectively used to deliver the contents. Because as you may know that in a classroom, if a teacher is taking the class, only his students are going to listen, and the teacher may be observing to the eyes of each and every student, and he may get the clear view of the student and how far he is interested, how far he is not liking the class. That can be well understood by the teacher. But in a virtual mode, it is very difficult to get a visual feedback from the students directly, and fortunately and unfortunately, some network issues and other things may interfere. And how to overcome all these challenges and present a better class, I want to talk for a few minutes. Okay, first, there are 6 important concepts in conducting an online class successfully. The first one is the contents. The contents of the class is going to be very, very important. What are the contents? Usually in a normal classroom, a teacher can go with a chalk and he can present everything in the board and come back. But in virtual mode, it may not be possible by using a chalk, and chalk and talk method is not much advisable because the student may not be comfortably able to receive it. So what we can do is we can go for advanced learning management systems like giving a presentation. PowerPoint presentation is very ideal and simplest form that any teacher can adopt. And this it will get the contents in a packed manner, and it will also improve the coherency of the teaching. So basically, for this online platform, a teacher can prepare a well-knitted PowerPoint presentation. And next one is he can have some videos. He can collect some videos either from the internet or from the learning management systems available in the institution. They can collect few videos related to that topic, and they can present in a suitable manner so that the students get more involved during the online classroom. And they can also have animated images, photographs, or certain pages of the scanned images of books or textbooks or journals, so that these contents can be effectively seen by the student when they are presenting the screen. This is the first part. The content is very, very important, because if the content is loose, the content is not well knitted, the content is not well prepared, then the teacher is going to get a bad image. Definitely, it will not be an effective teaching method. So basically, online teaching method, the teacher must prepare well in advance, but particularly with these sort of contents. And the second important thing is atmosphere, or what we call it as environment. In which environment he is going to take the class. So in home, there may be a lot of disturbances. If you are taking the class from the home, then there will be a lot of disturbances. Your kids will be there, maid will be there, and all those things will, the normal sort of disturbances will be there. So you have to select a suitable, ideal place where it is quiet, calm, comfortable, with a table and a chair, and a suitable system for holding your device. For example, if you're teaching with a smartphone, there should be a smartphone holder which can be settled on the table. And otherwise, if you are using a laptop, then a suitable laptop with the necessary charge and all those things. And the room should be also lighted well without external noises. We can minimize the external noises by closing the doors and windows. And you can also have a very good lighting so that the teacher is well seen by the audience or the students. And another one important aspect of this is you should not have any movable things on the backside. Many teachers, when they are taking the classes, on the backside there will be something moving. Either a television will be there, or some sort of moving things will be there, or even a moving screen of a window will also be a disturbance for a student. So that immovable things can be always on the background, so that it will be very comfortable for the viewing student. And the third part, first one is their contents, and the second one is environment, and the third part is their physical and mental stability, preparation. Physically and mentally, a teacher must be prepared to take an online class. Unlike a normal classroom, the teacher has to prepare well for their online classes, because only the image of the teacher is going to be taken by the student, and the teacher should be very cleanly dressed, and it should not be fuzzy, or he should look very fresh. There should be interest on the teacher's eyes to teach the contents. So if he is lazy, the feeling lazy, or if he is very sleepy, and the students may not get such much interest in attending the class. So he should be fresh and active, and he should look very elegant and gentle in the image received by the student. And the fourth part of this is delivery of the contents. 6 parts are there. The fourth part, what he had seen is, third part, what he seen is physical and mental preparation. Fourth part is delivery of contents. See, this is going to be the most important part, because if all the above 3 clear things are very clear and comfortably made, this fourth can be expected. See, this delivery is a big problem for youngsters usually, because they may be new for teaching, 1 or 2 years teaching experience may be there. They may be quite efficient in delivering a normal classroom. But when there is a demand for talking in front of a camera, it will be very nervous for them, and it is not an used to environment for Indian teachers. Although there are it is very common in many Western countries, just online classes are very normal. But in Indian scenario, it is quite new, and the young teachers are very much worried about this, presenting their contents in online mode. So what they can do this is, if the previous 3 things are well prepared, that means the environment is clear, content is clear, and if they are physically and mentally ready, then we can improve day by day this sort of online classes, and practice makes them perfect. So they can record their classes, and they can understand what sort of problems they are facing, and they can rectify one by one in the future. So no need to worry about it. Confidently they can go ahead, and confidence built in them will help a lot to overcome this difficulty. And fifth part is monitoring the student. It's a very simple thing. No need to worry much, because monitoring the student online, whether he is present or not, whether some student is leaving the online class, maybe fortunately or unfortunately he may be leaving the class because of internet connectivity, switching of the mobile phone or switching of the laptop, something may happen. So the online teacher who is teaching should not worry about these things, because this is shouting at them or saying something harsh to them will not going to solve the problem. So just they can have a note over it as they are recording the whole session. They may be just note, and we can find out later. So in between, they should not stop the class and find out what is the problem. It's not an ideal thing if one or two students leaving the classroom. And the last point is ultimately important: feedback. Normally we'll get feedbacks once in a year and find out what sort of improvements we can make. That is a normal thing associated with any institution. But here the feedback has to be collected by the teacher himself or herself, because that is going to be help to improve their class handling efficiency a lot. So after each and every class, they can circulate a small Google sheet containing very crispy questions, not very usual questions what we ask: good, very good, or excellent, like that. What is the problem, whether he is taking the class very perfectly, what sort of problem he had with understanding, all those can be directly got from the feedback. Or another one, indirect method, just by conducting some small test on the topic covered at the end of the session, so that the teacher can indirectly understand whether he had taught well or not, or what problem is there in his teaching or her teaching. So this feedback is going to be again important thing in online classes. So with these 6 important things, then definitely you will be able to improve the quality of online education. And this is my humble request that any teacher, even in a school or a college or even a PG student, we can adopt these 6 guidelines and we can improve the quality of teaching and learning process effectively. And Nagarjun, sorry for making you to wait for a long time. And what sort of things are going in Ethiopia? I think that you recently landed in Bangalore after 1 or a few years, and how this pandemic situation is being managed in Ethiopia. I heard that it's a normal country and there are lack of infrastructures, and how far this situation is being handled by the academic educational institutions.
Whatever you said is 100% true, sir. It is somewhat infrastructure is very compared to India, the infrastructure is very less, but they're having some LMS as well as modules. Ministry of every university in these type of backward countries is going to run with the help of UN fund, United Nation fund. So because of the backward country, the fund whatever is generated from the United Nations, they're mainly concentrated on education sector in these type of countries. So the infrastructure as well as the equipments, whatever they are going to purchase will be compared to the developed countries. So these type of universities, they're having some LMS as well as modules also. And earlier you had a discussion regarding Zoom. We too followed the same Zoom app for conducting the classes, whereas we are having only trial version of Zoom, which is connecting for only 40 minutes. And majority of students are not participated in Zoom because their curriculum is entirely different when compared to Indian curriculum. In their curriculum, they're having some seminars as well as assignments, which is irrelevant to the course. So for that platform, we are using LMS, where they can directly submit their assignments through LMS portal. Whatever the ID is given to students, by using that ID, they can upload directly their assignments, seminars in that LMS. As the faculty, we too having a login ID, we will evaluate the same in that portal and giving the marks over there. When compared to teaching, we are using only Zoom app for 40 minutes, and we faced a lot of problems over there because of internet facility is very poor over there, even though we came across uh, for the academic year. Now we finished all the syllabus and everything. Everything was quite normal right now. And within this span, like 2 or 3 months span, they have developed a lot of infrastructure in aspects of technology. Now we are able to face uh, any type of online classes, like Sir said, like Google Do. Everything we're supposed to do in Google platform right now.
So I think you are about to start your new semester from September or October. And what are all
Yes,
the
sir.
basic preparations that were being made to face this pandemic situation in that country? How this education is going to be for the next academic year? Some sort of discussions will be there at this point. So can you say something about that?
So now in India, when we are having more cases, more than 30, 2 crores cases like that, positive cases. When compared to this type of Ethiopian country, uh, the corona was starting growing right now. It crossed 20,000, 30,000. Now it reached to 40,000. So only very limited people affected with corona. But it is the stage. It is the stage in we can call it as third stage, where it is community spread is happening over there. So coming next 2 months, we don't know what is going to happen over there. So it started spreading. We are expecting that next academic schedule will be postponed for 1 or 2 months. But the government of Ethiopia is very strict about the education. They are having a academic meeting where they're discussing the point like this virtual platform is the best platform for teaching. Right now, as you said, we are going to use the Zoom as well as this Google apps. Whereas uh, here the drawback is the discussion between the student and the faculty. If they're having a rising a doubt, the discussion part it is unable to discuss during the meeting. So such kind of sort of issues and the mode of examination. So that is one of the important parameter has to be considered. So for these issues also they're going to have a discussion, and virtual examination is going to prefer by government of Ethiopia. Coming next 2 months, there won't be any direct face-to-face class. The virtual mode is preferable by with the help of Zoom app as well as Google apps.
Okay. So normally, when a student in Ethiopia, how far he is able to cope up with
Yeah.
this online mode? This is one part you are delivering. You are talking about delivering the contents, and how far the students are prepared enough to receive this in the online mode. Whether they have their own infrastructures like smartphones, smart devices, or laptops to receive this whatever you are ready to deliver.
Everything they're having, sir. But the thing is that when you're talking about postgraduate students, in each and every university, all the universities are running by government. There is no any private university or deemed university over there. Every university is running with the help of government of Ethiopia, and each and every postgraduate courses having very limited seats. So the persons who is having enough knowledge, only they are capable to get seat over there in that particular university. There is a heavy competition in that for getting a postgraduate seat, and the students who are crossing and getting that seat, and they're having a good knowledge, and they will have a good competition with faculty also. The starting in first year itself, they started writing publications. They started doing research. They started giving seminars. So from students point of view, there is no drawback. Only the thing is this type of technical issues in teaching, like which platform is supposed to use. Apart from that, students are having very good knowledge. They can easily grasp everything, and the accent is very good over there. They're supposed to be in US format, and everything is quite normal over there. There is no issues in aspects of that.
Okay, the students are well capable of getting and receiving this knowledge,
Yes,
even though it is online mode. That's
exactly.
what very interesting to understand. But
Yes,
in our
and
country,
even
you
sir,
can
one more
understand
thing I
that.
want to say. One more thing I want to
Yeah.
say. There, in India, we supposed to having 1 hour slot or 40 minute slot or 30 minute slot for a class when we are using a white black background board with a chalk and all. But there in Ethiopia, they are having 3 hour slots where continuously 3 hours class will be there without any break. Even these postgraduate students, we want to appreciate them. They won't They won't be showing any facial expressions. They will listen quite normal. There won't be anything. Even after finishing the 3 hours class, if you ask anything, they will give reply. Even they're sleeping or not, they're waking. We don't know. We can't judge them. But whatever the questions rising by the faculty during the 3 hours, they're supposed to give answer. That in that aspect, they're very good, sir.
It's really, really interesting to know that the students are very keen in their studies. And because when the heavy competition is there for getting a seat, definitely we can also expect that type of receiving capability at the student end also. So, but in India, particularly in southern India, we have a lot of issues associated with the student in receiving this online education. They have their own challenges, but this is not a platform for discussing about that. But still, I want to mention it that even once upon a time, we were very stringent that a student should not bring a cell phone to the campus. But every institution is now saying that the student must have an smart device like a smartphone in their hand to receive their education. So it is totally contrary, and many parents are have a difficulty to afford such things. So, however, it's not a platform for discussing about it. So we leave that part and we'll come back to the teaching learning process. So in the previous university where you
So
work,
for
I
that
heard
note,
that.
I want to say one more thing here. I want to say one word for that. In Ethiopia, when we compare to Indian scenario, we don't have any right to ask the student, are you carrying a gadget, are you having any smartphone, are you having any electronic device like that. People will supposed to listen music during our class during our lecture. They will play music and they will listen the we don't have, and they will have a chewing gums in their mouth. So that their type of mentality, if there is a music on their ears or having a chewing gum, then their brain will work. So such kind of scenario is there.
Okay, that is a different
So we don't
environment
have any rights to ask them, and yeah.
because in India we took education from the Gurukulas. Basic reason is teaching learning system in India had
Yes.
started from Gurukulas. That sort of we respected our teachers as gurus, and we keep them in the next to the God. Even you take a primary school teacher or a university professor, it doesn't matter. We call them as guru, and we give ultimate respect to them, and we will not even talk about them in a singular. Such an sort of customary thing that what we have. But if it is another country, we did not no need to worry about that, because that is their own way of style. There only the teaching process isn't just transformation of knowledge from one person to other. But
Yes.
in India and countries like India or Pakistan or Sri Lanka, where this type of Asian countries, we think that a teacher is something divine. That profession is highly respected one, and out of that only we are giving such sort of things to them as a respect, as a token of respect only. We are not doing such things in the thing. And moreover, our philosophy says when mind is focused towards a thing, you will be clear on that thing. That is scientifically also proved. When we are focusing on a particular thing, for example, you are focusing on a teacher, what he speaks, definitely you will be able to understand more things than who listens to music or listens person who is taking a chewing gum and listens. So in that aspect, we are thinking that it should be done like that, and the teachers also insist upon that. So that is the difference in culture will be always there, and we never need to mind about it. If you are in Italy, then you should be an Italian. You should uh, do the things like an Italian, and if you are in Rome, you should act like a Roman. So that's a thing. There is nothing wrong in
That
it.
is what, sir.
Even Thiruvalluvar had pointed in his uh, quotes that you have to work along with the society. How the society do, in that way you have to also perform. Even though you are, how much you are educated, it is not immaterial. Okay, so that sort of culture we are having, and that sort of flow we already in existing in our country. Okay, now I want to discuss about LMS in your previous institution. You had worked in an Indian university, deemed to be university, where this LMS system is
Yes.
very strong. I came to know that. So can you say what sort of LMS system is adopted in the place where you worked earlier?
Moodle, sir. It is a Moodle
Okay.
one.
How the things
Which
are
is learning methods.
affiliated
One
and
is one of the. Sir,
how
even
the
that I will say, sir. See, if I when there is no advanced learning method systems like that, as a teacher, we have to carry a register which is having the student name list. Every day we have to take attendance over there, as well as we have to take this one chalk piece and all everything. When we are talking about LMS, we have to just carry a laptop where we are having a login ID. In that login ID, directly all the students' names will be there. The particular slot, what is the time slot? What is I mean, which class is going to happen over there in particular slot, and who is going to take the lecture, and the students, the name list of the students will be there. Once after giving the attendance over there, that will directly reach to their parents. If any student is absent over there, okay, that particular student will be absent for particular hours. It will reach to their parents immediately. And as a faculty, we received a call from their parents and we're supposed to give answer for them. Sir, my son came to college, but why you're not? I received a message that my son is not there in college. So such kind of problems will be solved by this type of LMS. So whatever the student, whether he is actively participating or not, it will be directly reached to their parents. And the second thing is this type of assignments and all. Earlier it was like paper writing and everything, a lot of literature collection, and have to write in a long sheet paper. Computer knowledge.
yeah.
So it will be helpful in computer knowledge also. Students will search multiple browsers, multiple websites, journals, and all. They will collect all the materials. They can submit in either in MS Word or in
Yeah.
which will be a grace period of 10 days will be there. Directly it will be evaluated by particular staff and marks will be allotted over there. So that is another one of best thing. And the teachers, as some uh, some other practicals and all. So such kind of
Okay. I think
where
that there
student
is
having
some
direct access to
connectivity.
download such kind of uh, PowerPoints.
Yeah, I think there is some
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
internet connectivity
So as a
issue. You're
faculty, we're supposed to take some.
please
Uh,
proceed.
as point of view, this will be there in LMS. All the advantages will be there in LMS.
Okay. I think Dr. Shanmugha Sundaram's mic is in off mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to continue on this LMS, actually, recently I was happened to attend a 2 days LMS FTP session, where this Professor K. Srinivas also was teaching to us very neatly about this learning management tool and a Moodle session. But if you want to talk about that LMS, it will take a minimum 2 to 3 hours to explain to the viewers what is it is exactly. It is nothing but a platform which can be taken from Moodle, but there is also a paid version and unpaid version. There are a lot of restrictions in both the versions, and but at the same time, the Moodle or the LMS systems platform can be developed by any institution on their own with the help of the IT support. It can be a customized or it can be a tailor-made as per the institution, because every institution they have multiple courses, multiple examination systems, and all classroom facilities and other things. They can customize and they can make it tailor-made for their institutions. So that is what LMS is about. And many now nearly 20 to 25% of the institutions started practicing it, because LMS is not a new concept only during this lockdown. It is a concept just practiced by all the NAC and NBA institutions, because It's one of the criteria in NBA that in teaching and learning process, if you have a strong LMS system, then the scoring rate will be more. So any institution which is going for a NAAC and NBA accreditations, definitely they have a pilot or any preliminary version of LMS or a highly technical version of the LMS. That is what is there. And nowadays, every small institutions also started customizing their own Moodle platforms. In common, it is called as Moodle, but it can be given some particular name as per their institution requirements. So that is what it is. And very good thing about it is, as Nagarjun pointed out, it can be for attendance marking and it can be for communicating with the parents and other things. And any type of lecture, it can be a video lecture, it can be audio lecture, or it can be the notes or materials, it can be posted on the Moodle platform. The students, if they miss the class also, or if the student want repeated sessions on the same, they can download these versions and they can do, and it will be very good for the slow learners actually, because nearly 10 to 20, 15% of the students in a class may be a slow learner student. They cannot catch you up in the regular classes itself, and in online classes the students may not be very comfortable listening to the continuous listening mode also. As you said, there are a lot of technical issues like internet connectivity and other connectivity problems. The student misses a class also, the LMS and Moodle will help them a lot to re-go and go back to their platform and they can download it. And all the LMS is also it's a secured platforms only, because it will be working only for the institution people, and it also will work for the students with official IDs, or there may be certain usernames and passwords, because no one I cannot go and get some data from the other institution. It can be only for the particular institution, and only those students can be downloading, and it can be used, and it cannot be in a shareable mode also. They can download, they can use, and it will not be in a shareable mode. All those things can be created. And one important thing which I want to stress upon this point on the blended learning concept, that is since many student faculty are started giving blended learning lectures. That is, blended learning is nothing but a concept where you mix up with your regular lectures, then you download some videos or content related to a particular lecture and share it with the students. And if you want to share a lecture from John Hopkins University or from IIT professor or somebody else who is giving a similar data or a video lecture or audio lecture on this particular thing, and if you find that this will be more helpful and useful to the student in continuation to your regular mode of teaching, that is what we mix up in the class, and we do a normal PPT, we do a normal lecture, then we mix up with the lecture from the other people who are very good in the particular area, maybe from IIT or from any institution or a university professor. But one thing which I want to say is, because since everything is online, we may be posting in any social media or online platforms, and no one should make it as a claim or a copyright issue should not come to the faculty or to the institution, because that will reflect a bad name to the faculty as well as to the institution. That is, either they should legally take a permission from the particular person that I am going to use this lecture or a video in my class or to communicate. That is one way of doing it. Otherwise, they can do it with the Creative Commons license. That is, in YouTube videos also there is a license called as Creative Commons, and in Google search also you have a Creative Commons lectures. If I have posted any lecture on that in YouTube, that is Creative Commons license. In YouTube there are three types of licenses. One is a standard license, and other is a Creative Commons license, and one more license is there. So in the standard license and other licenses, it is not free to use by anybody. We cannot use those licenses for public propagation or by public domains. If you want to, but at the same time, the Creative Commons are free to use on any platform. That is, the person is saying you can use my lecture for any people, or you can broadcast this to any people without, they will not have any objections. So these type of Creative Commons, for example, if a person is using any topic on organic chemistry, he finds a similar thing which is good in other lecture, he can go and search in YouTube for organic chemistry on the particular topic on Creative Commons license, use the filter, and you can get it those videos. They can link it their videos, or they can download the videos and reproduce the videos, and they will not have any copyright issues. Similarly, in Google search also they can do this purpose. This is what a blended learning. If you want to do it on a social platform online, if inside the classroom you can show any videos or anything, and no one is going to question that. If you want to republish it in some other platform in YouTube or some other social media contents, so that the students will be seeing it or popularizing your classes. It's better to use Creative Commons videos rather than the standard license videos. That is what to end note on this. Already the show is running beyond our scheduled time. It's 1 hour 15 minutes. And because online, this is academic area, and all three are academicians sitting here, and we can keep on talking on this. Though we are talked about two platforms, we are not covered it fully. Though even the two platforms, Zoom and Google Meet, also has lot of pros. The cons are that is the negativity is very less, whereas their positivity is more. They are helping it free. That is the first thing we want to highlight. If they make it as a chargeable version, then it is very difficult for all the students as the institutions at this point of pandemic situation and economic conditions. It will be difficult for them to use it. Whereas since these platforms are free, not only these two platforms, many other platforms are free, but these are the two platforms, as I said earlier, they are using it in a very commonly used platforms. So there are a lot of positive features in it. We can talk about it in subsequent episodes also. Every week, every month, we can make it as a one episode mandatory on this type of things, so that the viewers will be benefited, because definitely it is going to be a year for next 6 months of only online classes, even in schools and colleges. If they reopen also, some portion of the things will be covered only in the online mode. So I think we can share our experiences. What are the positive things and negative things we are facing, challenges we are facing, that can be shared with the audience, so that the audience can get more inputs on this. So to conclude this, my today's talk, it was a wonderful day, and to see Nagarjun after a long time is back from Ethiopia. So wish him all success once again when he is going back. And it's over to Dr. Satish to give a concluding remarks.
Yeah, it is a time where most of the parents are worrying when the schools and colleges will reopen, because we know that the education is the important thing in our society. So the parents are worrying when the college reopens. It closed in last March, and this is August middle, and we are crossing. We are going to nearly 2-3 months of this academic year is being lost. 2-3 months of this academic year is being lost. How our students will cope up with the things? So no need to worry, because if once the educational institutions are open, our students are very friendly, and we cannot make any social distancing, or it is very difficult to achieve such type of things with the students, because in school, or it may be a college, the students are very friendly, and their activities will be very close enough, and it is very difficult to maintain the social distancing in any aspect. So it is not, we are not to think about that. We should not think when the college opens how this present situation can be effectively managed, and how the loss can be minimized. That is how we have to think. And instead of thinking and worrying about the closure of schools and colleges, the classroom, let it be closed, but the platforms are there, thanks to Zoom, thanks to Google Meet, thanks to many webinar platforms. So all those are there. So we have to utilize them very efficiently, and we have to minimize the academic loss. That's my point. And another one important thing I have to say is the teachers, when they are going for their online teaching process, they should be well prepared, and they should remember that how they teach is to be quoted as how the institution is going to handling the teaching process. It reflects the image of the institution, not the individual. So how this college teacher is teaching, like that it will not say. It will say that that college is teaching well, that college is not teaching well, like that only it will be reflecting. So each teacher have to take the responsibility in their shoulder while going for online classes. They should be well prepared, and they should take well these classes, handle classes effectively, and academic loss has to be minimized. It is in the hands of each and every teacher, let it be in the primary school or in the middle school or in a higher education system, whatever it may be. The teacher has to play a vital role. We cannot neglect them. We cannot say that it is at the hands of the government or at the hands of a principal, like that we cannot say. Each and every teacher has this responsibility. So with this thing, I have to close my talk today. and it's very interesting to have Nagarjun today with us, even though he is having a lot of works in between his tough schedule. He had managed to come and join within the starting of the show, and I really thank him, and our blessings are always with him, and he have to grow a lot, and he have to become a big academic person. Our wishes are always there. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, Nagarjun, tata, bye bye, see you. And
Okay.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you can
I
go
want to
ahead,
say
go ahead.
thank you to. I want to say personal thanks to Dr. Satish Kumar sir. Without him, I won't be in this position. My PG guide, my PhD guide, my well-wisher, my family member, and parallelly to Dr. Shanmugh Sundaram sir, who guided me throughout my journey. I want to thank both of you once again, sir. Thank you for giving the
One more thing I want to add. Nagarjun is saying that he is having a good
And
rapport
one more
with
thing I want
both
to
of
say you,
us.
sir.
No, wait, please wait. I'll complete. Let me complete. He is having a very good rapport with each and every faculty of Wales University.
To share with you.
Whoever I speak,
One
how
more
is
thing I want to
Nagarjun?
share with you.
Yeah, yes, Nagarjun, please.
Sir, I have been watching from past 1.5 hours. Looking younger, I don't. You both are looking young.
Because we are always with young people. Because we are always with young people, we are looking young. That's a secret of the thing. And I want to again mention that he is having not only good rapport with both of us. Any faculty, if I meet and something we are talking about students, definitely that faculty will ask how Nagarjun is. That may be the first question that I can expect. So to that much extent, he is close with many faculties in Vistas, and I don't know how he could able to manage all the teachers together, because in a classroom, 5 teachers are coming, we will be unable to maintain good rapport with all these 5 teachers. That will be the point of from a student. But how this student could able to manage a good relationship with all these teachers in a university or in an institution, that's very difficult. Not only that is in pharmacy field, but also when we go to the other administration or somewhere else in the research section, wherever we go, they will put a question, how is Nagarjun, where he is now, and all those things. That sort of good relation he is having with all the faculty and non-teaching staff of this institution. So I really appreciate his thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Satish, and thank you, Dr. Nagarjun. We'll meet again in some other occasion. So it's nice to be with you people on this. Nice to be with you people on this particular Sunday. So next Sunday, the Pharma Talks will continue with another new guest and a new topic. So stay tuned for the next week, same time. Tata, bye bye. See you from the Pharma Dios. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.